G'day and welcome to the show. Last week we road tested bearded dragons. This week we'll be meeting a large and very successful group of lizards that are winning fans all over the world. Monitor lizards, or goannas as we affectionately know them in Australia, include the real giants of the lizard world. Of course, the title of world's largest lizard easily goes to the Komodo dragon that reigns supreme in its island home in Java. Growing up to 10 feet long and weighing up to 170 kilograms, this lizard is probably the only one that truly deserves the title dragon in the legendary sense of the word. However, in terms of sheer numbers of species, Australia is without question the world's stronghold of monitor lizards and the envy of reptile enthusiasts across the globe. From Varanus primordius, the world's smallest species, to the huge Parenti that rivals even the Komodo dragon in size, Australia's 27 species have colonised almost every available habitat across the vast, dry expanses of the continent. Many visitors to national parks along Australia's east coast will be familiar with what is possibly the most successful of the larger species, the lace monitor. Unfortunately, well-meaning picnickers can often overfeed these individuals and they can eventually become a pest. However, given the right care, these large lizards can make great captives and provide a very rewarding experience for the keeper. We visited Dr. David Kirshner in his Sydney apartment to find out what makes them tick.
Lace monitors are found right up and down the east coast of Australia, and they also extend a little bit west into South Australia. They're normally associated with forested areas, so even when they're out west, you usually find that they're along river courses and hang around the trees. And there's a lot of, in fact, Aboriginal legends and stories to do with goannas and with lace goannas, and they're always associated with trees. They're quite often, I mean, they're the most commonly seen monitor in eastern Australia, and they're usually, for overseas visitors, it's the first goanna they're going to see. Goannas are incredibly fast-growing reptiles. They love a really hot basking spot, so they've got a much higher preferred body temperature than most other reptiles. So everything runs in overtime. They've got a really high metabolic rate, so they eat a lot, they grow quickly, and it all, how fast they grow depends on how much food you give them, but they will grow, they can get to close to adult size in a year. They get 3/4 adult size in a year. I tend not to like having them grow that quickly, so I'll pace them out a bit, but they are definitely a very fast-growing reptile. They're also a very, this whole high metabolism lifestyle, this is one of the things that makes them really interesting, is they're kind of like Australia's answer to the mongoose and weasels that you'd get in sort of Asia and Africa and North America, because Australia doesn't have very many mammalian predators, and that niche is filled by monitors. So as a consequence, there's a lot of species, and they're active predators. So they do a lot of things that a mammal will do, and their whole, the way they fit into the environment, I think, is very similar to those other predators. They're very much like a bird, and if you watch them, the way they watch things. When I walk into this room, I get two sets of eyes kind of staring at me, seeing if I've got food, looking at my hand, and they have that very bird-like quality, and they've got excellent eyesight. They'll see things from across the room. They're particularly good eyesight for movement, a really subtle movement from the outside of the room, or a plane off in the distance, which I think might be a bird of prey. But if they've got food right in front of them, they will only recognize this food by smelling it. So you can have a dead mouse in front of them, and they won't go, oh, there's a mouse, I'll have the tongue clip it. If it's moving, it's gone. A lot of people keep their goannas fed on dog food and that sort of thing, and it's not really a proper way to keep a goanna. In the wild, they will eat small animals, and I think the best way to make sure that they get the full complement of sort of nutrition and minerals and everything else is to give them small whole animals in captivity as well. So I tend to feed them mice, rats, day-old chicks, and insects. Everything except the insects is frozen and thawed. This is Alex, my male, and what he's doing is he's hoping to be let out of the enclosure. I normally let him out whenever he wants to be let out, just for a wander around. He can't understand why I'm sitting with my back to him and not letting him out.